And thank you for coming to this council meeting on February 18th of 2026. We will start with our committee meetings. The first reading, Community Development Committee, Mr. Wilson.
We'll open the Community Development Committee at 6 p.m. We have two resolutions tonight. We'll start with the first one, 26-R-06, a resolution extending a moratorium on issuance or granting of applications or permits for public storage, mini storage, or self-storage facilities in the city of New Franklin, Ohio, for a period of 1 year, 365 days, and declaring an emergency. I think we all know that we're just extending the moratorium on it. Anybody have any questions? Are we comfortable waiting the three?
I'm comfortable.
We'll move on to our second resolution, 26-R-07, a resolution extending the moratorium on the establishment of small box discount stores and the issuance of zoning permits or any other permits for the building, structure, use, or change of use relating to the establishment or expansion of small box discount stores and declaring an emergency. Again, is there any questions, or are we good waiting for three?
I think we're good.
Just to let people know what's going on for those that may not remember, we did this, I think, in 2024, the first time, and it extended again in 2025 and now. So for both of these, for the self-storage units and the small box discount stores, the moratorium is in place to basically prevent something from going in an area where we're looking to develop and snatching up some of that prime real estate right away. So as we continue to work through the process of the different areas of development, we want to make sure that we're kind of keeping our options open. And that's the purpose of these two resolutions.
Thank you, Jim.
We'll close the community development at 6:02.
Finance Committee, Mr. Cox.
Thank you. We will open the Finance Committee at 6:02, Resolution 2608, a resolution authorizing transfer of funds from the general fund to the police district fund and declaring an emergency. This is something we do every couple months or so for the amount of $250,000 general fund to the police district fund. Waive the three. We will close the Community Development Committee at 6:02. Or the Finance Committee meeting.
We'll move to Law and Ordinance Committee, Mr. Wolf.
Open the Laws and Ordinance Committee meeting at 6:03 p.m. We have resolution 25004, an ordinance providing for the regulation of short-term rental operations. So Mr. Allman and I were on a call with the law director, and about an hour meeting with him and his associate, and thought it was productive. Law director had some concerns. We walked through those, worked through them, and he is going to edit those, the law director, and then bring them back for us to take a look at. So I don't have a lot to report other than it's proceeding slowly, but we should have something, I think, before the next meeting.
What kind of changes, or what should we expect to see?
It was more, I would say, this dotting the I's and crossing the T's. He had a couple questions on the enforcement side of things. The law director said it's very difficult to enforce without having an inspector that works nights and weekends, because that's when most of the problems occur. And you need, since they're the ones that are going to be issuing these things, that we just felt that was one of the things we were working through. We also felt there was a lot of enforcement, and we struck out some things that may just clarify. It was just there wasn't really any structural huge changes to the version that we have. Maybe just clarified things a little bit better. So I haven't seen it. That was what the discussion was, but those edits are supposed to come. But there was nothing earth-shattering one way or the other. That like, oh, this was completely out, or this was thrown in, or anything like that.
So you were comfortable with the changes?
I was
you talked
comfortable,
about?
I was comfortable, you know, his associate, Mr. Irving Sugarman's associate, very familiar, he was excellent, so was Irving. And felt that they were prepared for the meeting and could tell that they had reviewed it quite thoroughly. They asked, you know, I think Mr. Allman was gonna take a stab at the edits and then send it back to them. But they're gonna get the final word on it, but I was told that we will have it before the next meeting. So I think we'll have a chance to look at it then.
Did he have an opinion on the 300 foot rule there was in talk?
He's seen it both ways. He really didn't, he was comfortable either way. He was comfortable both ways.
So will it have the 300-foot language on it when we see it, or not?
My understanding, it will not. It will not, yeah, that's what was Mr. Allman felt that it was easier, if it becomes a huge issue, or any type of issue, felt it was easier, and law director agreed that it's easier to add something to it from legislatively than to have something and take it away. So they were certainly comfortable with how it read prior. So I don't think it has, my understanding from what I got from the meeting, it will not have that.
But you're saying, if I understood correctly, that Mr. Sugarman had no problem with the 300 feet being in or out? He didn't have that suggestion? Am I correct in that assumption?
I think he understood where we were.
Right.
Yeah, and he was comfortable both ways. He asked about it, because Coventry has one.
Yes.
He was not like adamant about, you've got to have this. He was more on the enforcement, on how we as a city are going to, there was all kinds of enforcement things. Who's doing this? How are we doing it? There was issues in another municipality, and it went to court, and the kind of proof that they had was just a Ring camera from a neighbor, that guests were parked in an adjoining driveway, but without a witness there, you know, you could not prove that those cars parked there were actually at the place. So he was really, I think what I got out of the biggest thing is this is great, but if you're not going to have a zoning inspector on nights and weekends, basically weekend evenings, it's going to be tough to enforce. That is what. So I think he's coming up with something. Not saying we're adding to payroll or putting it, that was just what his recommendation was based on what was written. That he's seen it's only as good as being able to enforce it.
When you guys talked a little bit about the 300-foot rule in Coventry having it, did he talk about any problems Coventry's had with that 300-foot rule?
No, he did not say that. He didn't say that there were any problems with it. I know that that's where the litigation has occurred on that, but that was not part of this conversation.
Okay.
So.
Well, I think it's important that that 300-foot rule gets put into the draft that we see at our next meeting. I don't think it's something that we should wait on and think about adding in. At our, I believe, our January 7th meeting, we had, I believe, 4 council members voiced their support for the 300-foot rule. So I think it has shown a majority of council supports that at this point, and I don't believe we should just not put it in because we'll just wait and see. There's a need for it, there's a consensus for it, and it should be a part of that. So if you can pass that on to Mr. Allman,
I will
certainly hope he feels better.
I will pass that on, Mr. Cox.
And I think also, in my opinion, it doesn't sound like the attorney was opposed to it.
No.
Even though that's what the litigation was, I understand
No,
that.
he was not opposed to it. I don't want to.
No, you did not say he was, that's why I
He
was-
was not opposed to it. But he was certainly comfortable also
Without it.
without it. So it was not, There were other things, like I said, there's more on enforcement that he thought there may be some issues with. And there was certain, just minor language, it doesn't change the spirit of it, of what, like, hey, let's strike this word here and put this, so it was that kind of stuff. And those were the issues that were at hand.
You know what your gut feeling is, are we gonna get this information back soon enough that we can get it, if your gut feeling says this is something we're gonna take to vote at the next council meeting, it'd be nice if we can get on the website so that the residents can preview it before the meeting, so that they come in educated and can ask.
We're subject to our law director, so, I can't, I don't think we should vote on it until he gets to see it. This is a big deal. Yeah.
Just to kind of follow up with Mr. Cox's comments, it'd be nice if there was something that reflected what the majority would support. And I hear what you're saying with it's easier to make something more strict, but I would think it's easier, and once again, I'm not an attorney, I think it's easier to soften the regulation once everybody's already in.
He has felt also that if you have it, you better enforce it because every single time, because then if you don't, and then you decide to start doing it, now you're playing favorites, and that conversation came up. So the more restrictive it is, be ready to defend that or make sure it's enforced. That was what I got out of it. So I'm going to pass this on to Mr. Holman. That maybe can we say that 4 people on
I would say all support is really one.
okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
3, 4. Got it. Okay.
And was there, did you have any mention with the SB 104 and HB 109
Yeah.
as far as what our regulations were and they were going to match up with those? Or?
He didn't feel confident that, it's been sitting in committee for nearly a year. So it was like, in fact, he was like, we might want to get something if you're serious about it, get it on. He encouraged us to do it. But once again, either Mr. Allman or the law director was going to take a stab at it, but obviously, eventually, if Mr. Allman does the edits, the law director has to take a look at it before we get our eyeballs on there. Sure. There was really nothing substantial, but I definitely will pass on exactly what was said here. Perfect.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, you and Mr. Holman taking the time with the law director. I think it certainly helps us with what we're doing to make sure that we're good. So I thought that was very important. I'm glad you guys were able to do that.
Great. Thank you. All right, we will close out the Laws and Ordinance Committee meeting at 6:13 p.m.
All right, we'll call the order.
Would you like to ask one more time, or for that?
During the council meeting.
Oh, during council. All right.
We'll call to order a regular council meeting if you join us for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Cox?
Present.
Mr. Schaefer?
Present.
Mrs. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Powell?
Present.
Mr. Plesky?
Present.
Mr. Wolf?
Present.
We have a motion for approval of the minutes of the meeting for February 4th, 2026.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Plesky?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
We have a motion for approval of the financials for January of 2026.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Plesky?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes. All right, we'll move on to public comment. Please keep your comments addressed to council in under 4 minutes.
Mike Hoffman, 4123 Melcher Avenue. My blood is boiling that Mr. Allman would listen to the consensus of this council since that January 2nd meeting And then Mr. Kluski followed up to say that he was part of the board that was against it. And he decides to go against the consensus and leave that out at this point. Thank you for pushing back on that. If Mr. Allman doesn't want to put this ordinance through, you guys can put it up to vote it down, and what you for can put it back up. Which, as I understand, is the prerogative of council. It doesn't have to be a law and ordinance that changes that legislation. I've heard the comment about litigation in Coventry Township multiple times. Am I right that if I look at Summit County civil cases, criminal cases, I would see that Coventry Township is in a case?
This was a mediation that had,
So there's been no case filed.
right, so there was, my understanding, once again, what the law director was mentioning, that there was negotiations, and from the petitioner, the person who was subject to, so there was a lot of back and forth billable hours, I guess I should say, and it eventually was, and once again, I thought it was a Stark County attorney, so I don't know if it was, I think it wasn't a legal, like, I don't think you'll find a filing of that.
Okay, I know there's been litigation for the last 9 months brought up as a concern when we have multiple communities that have banned them outright. In my understanding, they're not having any issues. How much time could we save just by banning the short-term rentals? You guys are spending so much time on this. When that does get published on the website, I would appreciate if it's a red line version, so I don't have to do the red line like I did on the last version that tried to get through. And when this 300-foot rule is in, I'm pleading that you make it effective for anything that was in operation from January 1st, because this delay, and I have concerns that there's a motivation for this to drag out, so that more investors can plant their flag on the short-term rentals and get into this 300-foot rule. So please make it that they have to be in operation on the short-term rental effective January 1st. So this window of time, you're not having to pop up in the neighborhoods. Lastly, I will tell you that I feel like I'm elected and I'm representing the citizens of this town, while this body is not on this issue. So you know that in the charter, there's a provision for a citizen's petition, initiative petition, that I can take something to the voters. And I'll guarantee you that more than 50% of this community will say that they don't want short-term rentals. So while there's people on council that are trying to protect investors on there, because of this delay and all this around, they're gonna lose it, and they're gonna have no short-term rentals when this gets voted by the public in November. Thank you.
I take exception to your comment that there's members of council that are trying to protect investors. We've spent a lot of time on this, and it's not for any investor, but for the citizens to make sure that we do it properly, that our law director sees it, that we're going through the proper steps. A lot of research has gone into it. And for you to suggest that there's some other reason why this is taking so long is very offensive.
Okay.
You may want to check with Barberton Court. I know that a lot of things that are in the 44319s, if the code gets filed in Barberton Court, I don't know if there's any there. I've never checked, but that might be a resource for you as well.
Probably filed under civil versus criminal.
Any other public comment?
Sharon Goodwin, 6789 Hampshire Road. Touching on two different things. Thank you to council for extending the moratoriums on the box stores and the storage units. And back to the short-term rentals. I may not understand this correctly, but if I do, one of the issues that Mr. Sugarman is referring to is enforcing problems and not having someone to be able to do that on weekends or whatever. But would that not fall under the police authority to look into that, have a report done up, and then pass that on to zoning when zoning is in operation? And maybe that would be a way of addressing violations or
Yeah, my understanding was that his associate, there was another associate for our law firm, and he is also a trustee of another. They felt it worked a lot better when they had a weekend nights inspector. I'm not sure exactly, fair point, that the board would be able to. I guess my issue would be, there's exactly what Mr. Hoffman, I talked to the chief of police, said zero, for all these years, zero complaints from short-term rentals except at that one. So are we legislating for one? And one of what the attorney had come out is that also, are you having the government do something that you can do through nuisance laws? If it is a nuisance, you have every civil, there's civil litigation that can take place to get rid of that, particularly if there are problems there. That was what was said also. And it triggered me when you triggered that thought. That was one of the conversations that we had, is that sometimes, not just with short-term rentals, a citizen will have a problem with a neighbor or something, any type of problem. And they want to come to the government to fix a problem that is an isolated issue. I'm not saying that this is, because we know short-term rentals are. But in the meantime, I can tell you that I have been engaged. I have not tried to drag my feet on this. I want it off the agenda, quite frankly. But there's been no delay for Mr. Holman, and I can tell you that I think the entire council wants this resolved. So, but that was one of the suggestions that the law director, not suggestions, but pointed out to me, it was unaided that sometimes there can be issues that occur that aren't occurring anywhere else. And I don't know, are you aware of any other short-term rental problems in the city?
I wouldn't have visibility.
Okay, I didn't know, I'm not trying to be confrontational or anything.
I know that there's a new one, the same owner that has ours, just bought one on State Park Drive. And I know one of the neighbors reached out with
4131 State Park.
That sounds familiar. I mean, I saw it go in the real estate, property. So I was advising the neighbors that they're going to have I was advising the neighbors that they're going to have a short-term rental there. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I got an email from a concerned citizen about that one as well.
Yeah.
Just a day or two ago.
Any other comments?
Terry Forsyth for Create Center. To kind of go along with what you're conversing about, we are currently doing a rewrite of our zoning laws in order to get ahead of issues. So couldn't this be seen as a way of getting ahead of issues to prevent problems rather than come in behind once we have a lot of problems, because these things are happening more and more? To be proactive and get ahead of problems and prevent them instead of wait till they happen. This does not.
Well, this being an ordinance, it would be basically born into our codified ordinances.
Yeah.
It should be handled the same way.
Yeah.
This piece of legislation is doing essentially what you were saying, but in a faster method.
Sir?
Yeah, my name's Jeff Clapp. I live on 4200 Woodedge Boulevard. And these are, I love these discussions because they're needed. But I have two questions. There's a hot thing going on right now about the non-disclosure agreements with city councils, with private companies. And my question is the city of New Franklin, do you guys sign NDAs with private companies representing us?
I have not signed it.
That's great. That's great. And the other one is, I'm pretty upset and worried about these data centers. And we're trying to build New Franklin. And I don't want, and I don't know anyone I've talked to, that wants a data center anywhere in New Franklin, period. But I don't want this to pop up. The city council said, we want to vote on this. You should get the public's opinion on it and understand, I don't think anyone in New Franklin wants a data center. And you know, I look at this short-term rental. I drew a line down a piece of paper, pros, cons. I couldn't find any pros, but I ran a list of cons. And I think it's the same thing if you do it with data centers. What are the pros? What are the cons? If you look at the cons, you're going to say, we don't want it. So, thank you.
I can say, I haven't heard a single whisper since I've been on city council about a data center at all.
Fan-
We addressed that in
Fantastic.
another meeting as well, that I don't think any of us want that.
And the data centers really bring nothing to the community. They don't bring job, income taxes.
They bring taxes, they bring revenue.
In what form? It's not income tax.
Pardon me?
It's not an income tax because typically the data centers are machines running. They eat a lot of resources, a lot of water, a lot of electric.
So you looked into it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And we also don't have the infrastructure for it.
Well, we don't know that.
So, yeah, so.
Oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if someone were to propose one of those facilities, we would have to go through our zoning, planning and zoning commission first, go through all that process. There'd be public hearings on it, and then they would make a recommendation to council whether to approve or not, and then we would have public hearings.
Well, that's
Council.
what, yeah.
So there'd be plenty of conversation.
That's what I want to hear,
Plenty of
because
opportunities.
I've heard horror stories.
Yeah.
Councils are signing these NDAs and they can't disclose their discussions.
Yeah, so it'll be all open, public hearings before anything gets close to being.
I appreciate it. I just couldn't sleep, so I came down here, brought it up, because I didn't want to read about it on the website or something. Great news. We're putting a thing down there, okay? Thank you.
Sleep well tonight.
On Ben.
Any other comments? All right, we'll move on to our first readings, resolution 26R-016.
A resolution extending a moratorium on issuance or granting of applications or permits for public storage, mini storage, or self-storage facilities in the city of New Franklin, Ohio, for a period of 1 year, 365 days, and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is assigned to the Community Development Committee. We move to waive the reading.
Second.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Plesky?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
That was just-
I'm sorry, jumped ahead.
Move to adopt resolution 26-R-06.
Water and sewers.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Plesky?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
I told you, that's 6-0. Moving on to resolution 26R-07.
A resolution extending the moratorium on the establishment of small box discount stores and the issuance of zoning permits or any other permits for the building, structure, use, or change of use relating to the establishment or expansion of small box discount stores and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is assigned to the Community Development Committee, and we move to waive the reading.
Second.
Mr. Plesky?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
We move to adopt resolution 26-R-07.
Second.
Mr. Plesky?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Moving on to resolution 26R-08.
A resolution authorizing the transfer of funds from the general fund to the police district fund and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is assigned to Finance Committee. We move to waive this with 3 readings on resolution 26R-08.
Second.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Gillespie?
Yes.
We move to adopt resolution 26R08.
Second.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Gillespie?
Yes.
Passes 6-0. We'll move over to ordinance number 25-0-04.
An ordinance providing for the regulation of short-term rental operations.
This was brought from the Laws and Ordinance Committee. We asked for more time.
Time is requested, time is granted. And we'll move to our mayor's report. That was given to Sue.
Yes. So I will read you the mayor's report. He said, since our last meeting, I've spent 2 days in Columbus meeting with our senators and representatives about the need for infrastructure along our commercial corridors. Although Senator Robner no longer represents our district, she agreed to submit a letter of support for the funding through EPA's WSRLA Water Supply Revolving Loan Account. To date, we have letters of support from 14 public water systems, including the schools, Congresswoman Sykes, Senator Robner, Senator Weinstein, Representative Daniels, County Executive Shapiro, and a resolution from City Council and VP. I was also able to lay the foundation for our capital budget requests and meet with representatives who could possibly fund us through a grant with Ohio Public Works. I initiated conversations about our needs for sewer along our commercial corridors as well. In March, I'll be attending a meeting organized by the county to discuss potentially regionalizing our sewer with other nearby communities who have the same need as New Franklin. Although this will take some time to work out the details, we're moving forward with those conversations to hopefully find a cost-effective solution. Representative Daniels and his aide Patrick have agreed to help push this forward and assist us into looking for sources of funding. On February the 12th, AMEX passed a resolution awarding New Franklin $4,939,454 in State Route 619 corridor improvements. Although the work will not be completed until 2031 to 2032, New Franklin secured the most funding during this most recent round of awarded projects. I'm currently working on identifying additional projects to submit for more funding before the next due date. They have already allocated all funding for this calendar year, but will be open for new requests, and I hope to keep New Franklin at the top of their funding list. That's all you have.
Continue on with the finance report.
Sure. Not much going on right now. We're trying to get back in the swing of the regular rhythm of everything. Obviously, we're doing getting our information together for our gap financing and our financial report for 2025. And then we'll be moving to our audit after that. But things are a little bit quieter and more back on routine, so we're happy about that. And we hope to everybody that had to get their W-2s, got those, and got all their stuff ready for the tax preparer. Also, one other thing, obviously with tax season coming up, there again is the RETA tax situation where people have to file for RETA. Please, if you have any, I don't do taxes, but if you have a problem with the penalty or an issue, or you need somebody to kind of step in and help, we're here to do so. So if you contact our office, we'd be happy to help. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Moving on to old business.
I've got something here I wanted to bring up. This is going back to a resolution from 2022. This is resolution 22R59. And this was a 4-year agreement between the City of New Franklin and the Village of Clinton for policing services. I know this current contract goes until the end of 2026, but with how costs have gone up and services and everything else, it'd be nice if we could potentially get a committee, or if we could, I know it's a ways out, but if we start looking at this now, maybe do a cost of service analysis to make sure that whatever we're in an agreement with on them is going to cover the cost of the services we're providing them.
And can tell you that, Stephanie, our HR coordinator, was asked by the mayor to compile the cost of an actual, an actual person to fill that spot, which of course would be the high end, because those are the people that we have filling it that've been there a while. So she gave him that, and I believe they are meeting, Chief Bickett and the mayor are meeting with the schools to kind of go over some.
No, this is not the schools. This is for Clinton.
Oh, well, for the schools, they're working on that.
Okay.
Clinton, Clinton, I can't tell you about off the top of my head, because I think we have a little longer on Clinton, don't we?
No, it ends in, end of 26.
Okay.
But I just run some quick numbers on it. You can either break down the population or square miles. For the census of 2020, our population was 13,877. You divide the cost of this year's budget by that population, it puts us at $225 per person for that service. And we could easily apply that to the residents, the population of Clinton, which would give us an increase on what we're charging them for this year. Or if you did it off square miles, I think Clinton is 3.55 square miles. We're 25 if you don't count the lakes because of the water. And that puts us at a little bit higher number. But once again, just if we had basically a study on cost of services,
Yeah.
just to make sure whatever we're agreeing to. Because I think if I remember correctly, didn't it go to the Clinton Council and they had already talked about it before we even saw it?
Yeah.
So it'd just be nice to get ahead of that.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. They, as you know from what you just said, they have been using an equation to come up with that, based on what we pay, and charging that same amount based on what, the size of Clinton. So definitely, we would be looking for updating that, not leaving it the same, but updating that to the current costs. So yes, definitely worth getting together and working on that. I will bring that up to the mayor so that he can know about that and get a hold of you about handling that and getting together with you on that.
Do they ever do how many calls they have to make? If it's
I kind of did an analysis on that for fire services, and we were talking with Clinton about potentially going back into helping them with fire services. And I broke it down by the number of calls versus the cost of what we pay to have that service available to us. And it was,
with police, is that not?
we could.
Yes, I'm well known.
Yeah, so it just depends on how you do your cost analysis study. So that you can do it off population calls, you can do it off square mile. It depends on what piece of criteria you want to use. I just want to make sure whatever we're using, it makes sense to where we're not subsidizing.
Yeah.
I think that should be part of it.
You didn't-
Deposit of those.
We didn't use the calls because that was not as representative as how much does each individual, for example, in Franklin pay, whether they have, a call or not, what do they pay for that service? And that's how they came up with the equation to break it down. So they haven't really used the number of calls because that didn't really, they can have a low amount of calls and it just.
Each year could be different, and I based on just your comment, I did it on what each person would represent their cost. That's why I used population.
Exactly.
Why don't we use that for fire?
We could.
Okay.
Yeah, so I run the numbers a few different ways, and I got that for the fire department.
Do you have an update on how many people wanted the water?
I do not know how many.
I've gotten asked that by several people, so I wanted to get them an answer on that.
I know that he said in his report that he had 14 public water systems, including the schools, that were already signed in. So I would
How
assume
many
that,
residents?
but I don't know about residents.
They did mention the BP homes too, and I think they were quite a few homes.
Yeah, and basically, the last time that we did this for water, the big push as far as the EPA for getting us the funding was the fact that they were getting rid of public water systems. So that's even more important than the number of residents that would sign up for that grant for EPA, because they don't want to have to come out and monitor them all the time, like they do now when they're not on, public water. So that's usually the driving force.
Any other old business? We'll move on to new business, and I have one here, thanks to Judy for reminding me. The Portage Lakes Advisory Council has the Run to the Beach on April 11th. You can contact them to sign up, you can run, you can walk, but it's a nice event that they have every year.
Is the polar bear jump this weekend?
Next weekend,
Is it next?
Is it next
February
weekend?
or March?
February.
Or February 24th.
Next weekend?
Hmm?
Next weekend?
Next Saturday.
Any other new business?
I have one. Manchester Youth Wrestling Team this week sent 3 kids to the States. We had 1 state champion come out.
Yay.
It's only our second one in the program's history. David Farhat won 105-pound state champion. And then we had another one. Mason Mustard did really good. He didn't unfortunately place. And then Grayson Porco took 4th in state.
That is excellent.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
He's only our second ever in the entire program's history. So it's awesome to have that.
Big deal.
It is. That's a lot of work.
This community's rallied around those kids this year with the new room and everything else. I just wanted to put that out there and thank everybody for that. For the hard work's paying off and the community involvement has paid off with those kids big.
Any other new business? Move on to our public question and answer. Any comments on what you've heard tonight?
Let me follow up. I'll apologize for my tone. It's been emotional. We had family tragedy, so I am emotional about it, but this ordinance is going on so long, it seems like with a city our size, we should be able to navigate this legislation at a quicker pace. And maybe the law director is the cog in the wheel for why things are taking so long. I would be naive to know that you guys aren't getting calls from investors lobbying you, and I'm trying to represent the citizens of the town against that pressure. And it does seem to me that the citizens, if you asked them and you went door to door, would you like a short-term rental in your neighborhood? They're all going to say no. And there's people fighting to allow them to have. Most of them are not citizens of this town. I'm still a little flabbergasted why we're allowed, and the legislation continues to get diluted from when it first came. It gets diluted and diluted and diluted. And the last version Mr. Allman had some stuff in there the council didn't even know. I had to do my own red line to see why are we diluting it more. It sounds like we might dilute it more. It just seems like we should just, since the zoning code says that R3 LR is for residential homes, that these are commercial properties. They're there to make money, not to enhance the neighborhoods. So, thank you. Sorry for my emotion.
I will let you know that I have not been approached by any investor.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Nor have I.
Either of us.
I've never had a conversation with a short-term.
You're the only person that has approached us.
Well, I know that the January 3rd meeting, there were Airbnb owners that were passing notice, so.
Oh,
To us?
to us?
They
were here?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh,
Who knows? It could have been, hey, don't forget to talk about this.
Greg Bowman, 4057 Melton. When the new mayor got sworn in, there was talk about having the law director start to attend these meetings because the mayor was no longer a lawyer. Is there anything going forward on that?
Our current law director is not in town most of the time. The mayor right now is interviewing for a new law director. But he's asking the right questions, taking the time to make sure we get the right person for that job. I have not heard anything past that yet, but I do know he's working.
But that's not something that's delaying
No.
what's going on now.
And I know I support having a law director here, and I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I think you'd have support to have a law director present at the meetings like they used to.
Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll Remind everybody, our next council meeting is on March 4th of 2026. Do we have a reason for an executive session tonight? No. Nope. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I will.
One second.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Powell?
Yes.
Mr. Plesky?
Yes.
Mr. Wolf?
Yes.